through at this time, the things that are coming ahead, a blessing. Ahiana, hi, hi, no, Rihanna, ho, Winea. 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 Diana, Zene, away. Ahiana, hi, hi, no, Rihanna, ho, Winea. Ahiana, hi, hi, no, Rihanna, ho, Winea. Ahiana, hi, hi, no, Rihanna, ho, Winea. Diana, Zene, away. Ahiana, hi, hi, no, Rihanna, ho, Winea. 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 Diana, Zene, away.
Hi, Pachamama. Well, welcome back to another round of virtual council with the Reviveolution. And this is a channel dedicated to bringing you valuable insights directly from authentic Indigenous wisdom keepers and earth guardians. So I'm Caroline Putnam. I'm here in the Sacred Valley of Peru. And today I'm very pleased to announce that I'll be passing off the eagle feather to an incredible earth ally, Indigenous keepers of the world, of Indigenous wisdom keepers of the world. Her name is Linda Rettinger. So Linda has been a key team member in organizing and running various conferences with Indigenous elders, medicine people, and wisdom keepers from around the world, and has assisted in organizing some of the gatherings for the 13 grandmothers. She's now in the process of launching the Medicine Wheel Conference on October 9th through 11th with Victoria Luna in Phoenix, Arizona, bringing elders from around the globe to share their wisdom and speak about our connection to each other, our connection to the stars, and what's happening in this time of our lives. So you can see more details about this conference at medicinewheelconference.org. So they're going to be hosting elders from the Hopi, Lakota, Havasupai, Aztec, Yaqui, Paiute nations, ceremonial leaders from Mexico, Nepal, Hawaii, and Ghana. So this is not a conference to be missed. Definitely check out the website and definitely, if you can, make your way down to Phoenix, Arizona to join in on this amazing experience. So Linda feels that building a spiritual community is very important. So she consistently works on updating her website for events, ceremonies, and gatherings, keeping the spiritual community in touch. So you can check this out at meaningfulthings.net. And Linda works really closely with her Native American and Mexican heritage on her mother's side, offering personal clearings, home and land clearings that are thorough and powerful. And she's been a massage therapist since 1979, specializing in deep tissue massage. And she offers an array of other spiritual techniques from readings, dowsing rod readings, birthday ceremonies, renewing vow ceremonies, spiritual counseling, mentoring, energy work, workshops, ceremonies, retreats, and speaking engagements. So she's got an array of tools under her belt, and we are extremely happy to visit with her today. So I'm going to be passing off the feather to you now, Linda, so we can hear the wonderful wisdom that you've gained along your journey in your experience.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Appreciate you having me here today. And thank you for sharing a lot of the things you said and supporting the work that I do, helping to support the community and the Indigenous elders that I support as well. The focus of my work is certainly with Indigenous teachings from around the world. I know a lot of my practice lies within the Native American and Mexican traditions, but I focus on all the knowledge of the indigenous tribes around the world because I feel that it's so important to bring all that knowledge together, and which is the driving factor of my work. Why I bring people together with these elders to listen to this knowledge. And I feel that by listening to all the different traditions, all the different ways of life, and the way all these different cultures live, the belief systems, the more you listen to everybody, the more similar that you see that it is. Mm-hmm. Everybody honors the elements, the earth, air, water, fire, the sun, the moon. And so that's pretty much a basic around the globe. We honor those life-giving things, the water. And when we listen to these elders speak, no matter where in the world they're from, it will strike a chord in you. There's something that everybody will take away from a gathering like that. Mm-hmm. I've been doing these gatherings for about, 12 years or so, maybe more. I haven't really counted the years, but it was actually a message from Spirit to have these gatherings. Mm-hmm. And to find these medicine people and these shaman and these elders, the wisdom keepers, and bring them together. And at that time, I couldn't even think of 3 people that I could have invited. So I kept having this conversation with Spirit, but I don't know anybody that would come, really. Like, I don't even know a shaman or a medicine person or anything. So, but it was such a strong message that I had to do it. So I searched for somebody, and my very first gathering that I had was with a shaman that has passed away now, Serge Martel, Running Wolf Martel. And I asked him, how many people is like the minimum that you would want to have? And he goes, well, maybe 8 people. And I was like, God, where can I find 8 people? And so I just went ahead and put the word out. I do some graphic design, so I went ahead and made a flyer and just saw what happened. I rented a room, made a date, and our first gathering was 19 people. And I loved it so much. And they're like, well, we're going to do this again next month. So we ended up doing it every month for about 9 months or something. Wow. With him. And then I started meeting other organizations that worked with a lot of indigenous peoples. And one key factor was there's a friend of mine in Tucson, Queen Elizabeth. And she's a wonderful, journey facilitator with the drum. And that's originally where I started speaking to my guides a lot more than usual, and started, speaking, connecting with Spirit much more. And so she's just a wonderful journey facilitator with the drum. Mm. And so, anyways, I started. I was on an advisory board for the Ringing Rocks Foundation here in Sedona, Arizona, where I live right now. I live in Sedona, and they basically dealt with healers from around the world, just healers, and they brought somebody in every month, and here to Sedona, and did like a free talk. And they knew that I did these workshops, so I started picking them up at the airport. They'd stay at my house. We'd do a workshop and maybe a talk in Phoenix, because I lived in Phoenix at the time, and then I'd bring them to Sedona, and we did that all the time. And they finally closed their doors in 2009, and that was, I met the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, in 2007. And at the Ringing Rocks, we had them, 7 of the grandmothers come. And that's where I met Mona Polaka, who's one of the grandmothers. And she lived not far from me, and we just connected right away and became good friends. And so I told her, hey, I know you're going to be hosting your gathering here in Arizona, because each of the grandmothers host their gatherings in each other's countries. And so it was her turn that year in 2009. And so she's like, yeah, that would be great. I'm thinking she has this big crew of people. And so when it's time for us to meet, it's pretty much just me and her. And the people who were organizing the grandmothers at the time were so busy with Grandmother Agnes's gathering in Oregon, and they were so close that we pretty much had the whole gathering organized, figured out. Everything was laid out by the time they were done with Agnes's gathering. Mm-hmm. So when they came, they just plugged in and it was ready to go. It was a beautiful gathering. We have I made a CD, a DVD of all the photos of that gathering, with music and words saying what everything is. It's just beautiful. Just the ceremonies that happened there. So if anybody's interested in that DVD, you can contact me. But it's moving. You can feel the energy of those ceremonies and gatherings. And when the grandmothers have their gatherings, they each one of them does a ceremony, and they do ceremony 3 times a day. And it's just a real moving experience. They just came back from their gathering in Africa in July, and I haven't heard about it, but I'm going to be hearing about it here pretty soon. I'm going to be speaking to. We have a nurse that's part of the grandmothers that travels with them, and I'll be speaking with Mona here pretty soon. So I'll be hearing all about it. I can't wait. But it's just an amazing experience working with these women, these grandmothers from all over the world, from Africa, from Japan, from Brazil, from Alaska, from the Lakota grandmothers, and Mona here is from Havasupai and the Hopis. But they're from all over the world, Mexico. And so their website is grandmotherscouncil.org. If you're interested in learning more about the 13 Indigenous grandmothers. Now, I know there's a lot of Indigenous grandmothers groups or grandmothers. There's a lot of 13 grandmothers groups around that I've seen. There's Grandmothers Pacifica, 13 Grandmothers Pacifica in Hawaii. And I've heard it others that have been around, 13 grandmothers. But they're called the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers. So that's their specific name. So you know it's them. But when they gathered, it was the lady that had gathered them, came up with the whole, putting the effort into gathering these grandmothers, kept having these visions and dreams. These messages coming to her for years, because she really didn't know what to do with it. But the message was, gather the grandmothers. And so she's like, well, what's that mean? But it kept coming and coming. And she did a lot of work with Indigenous peoples from around the world. And so she talked to the grandmother in Africa when she was over there about what was happening. And she said, I've been having the same messages come to me, the same visions and dreams come to me. And she goes, you have to put it together, because you're the only one that knows all these people. And so her name was Jyoti. And so she went ahead and put these letters out to, I think she sent like 21 letters. She didn't know what was going to come of it. Could 100 come from 21 letters? Or could 3 come from 21 letters? Who knows? And I'm pretty sure it was 21. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to mark my words, but I know it was in that range. It was a lot more than 13. And so she sent those letters out and set a date a couple years later so they could fundraise, and just wanted to see who came. And so what happened is 13 of them came. 13 of these grandmothers came to the call.
Wow.
And so they had counsel with a lot of kind of like interaction with a lot of other people that came to meet with them. And they sat at a table, round tables, and no one was at the head. And somebody had painted a tablecloth with 13. They knew there was going to be 13 of them coming, so they put 13 planets in our solar system, 13 moons. And when the grandmother from Alaska came to speak, she laid out these 13 stones and had these 13 eagle feathers, and said that her grandmother gave her those when she was 9 years old, and told her that she would be on a council of 13 grandmothers one day. And when she's on this council, to give each grandmother a stone, but to keep the eagle feathers together. And so it was at that time that they decided to form a council. Because they're like, well, what's this about? We just meet once, I feel like we have a lot of work to do, with all these Indigenous grandmothers, and everybody agreed, yes, we feel the same thing, that we have a lot of work to do. So each grandmother got one of those stones, and that's the council. That's how it started. A lot of people wonder, how did you come up with these 13 grandmothers? And they at one time, in council decided that these were the only 13 of that group. So even in spirit, there's just going to be those 13. It's not like they're going to keep having predecessors. But it's amazing to see them together. I've talked with you a lot about talking about the grandmother's wisdom. We've spoke about that, and you're considering having a grandmother's gathering, or, women's gathering with grandmother wisdom in Peru, right?
Yes.
And so, that totally resonates with me. And I've had so many people come to me and say they really want to put grandmothers together. And I think that same message, gather the grandmothers, is still out there. We're still hearing that call. And so I feel it's so important, this idea that you have, this vision, this message, to have this gathering there in Peru. And so I fully support what you're doing.
Gracias.
And, honor you following that vision, that dream, and making something happen of it. And then it will take a life of their own, of its own. It will happen, and it'll be beautiful.
Yeah, well, thank you for that support.
So anyways, this, when the grandmothers came here to Sedona in 2009 and had their gathering, the Ringing Rocks Foundation closed their doors for finally closing their nonprofit. So the grandmothers was their finale, last event. And so then they introduced me to another organization called the Kenosha Spirit Keepers, and which I'm still involved in now. I'm on the board of directors for the Kenosha Spirit Keepers, and they are the director of that is Carla Woody, and the website is kenoshaspiritkeepers.org. And I recommend taking a look there because there's a lot of wonderful things going on with this organization. Definitely, again, focused on the Indigenous knowledge. And Carla does a lot of travel programs to Peru, Chiapas, and different places, and really has a high integrity in the work that she does and the quality of the people. And we also, that's a separate organization called Kenosis. that does these travel programs that Carly has. And then the Canosa Spirit Keepers is like something that helps support that, and that they support each other. And so she takes a lot of Indigenous elders and Hopi elders and different people to these other countries on the trips to do like cross-cultural,
beautiful,
integration, so that they can, meet each other. And there's been amazing stories that have come out of that. So that's something to take a look at. And then 3 times a year, we do a program in Phoenix. We've been doing it. We bring Indigenous elders here and wisdom keepers to Phoenix, and we do a gathering at the North Mountain Visitor Center. And we do a talk, like on a Friday, and then a Saturday do like a 4-hour workshop. And it's a really special, it's just really special to go to these, and there's a lot of wisdom to be shared. Really amazing people that are coming. And the next person that's coming is Apap Yantu. He practices in the Mayan tradition, very traditional. And so I don't know, I'm just talking. But I'm going to pass it back to you.
So interesting.
If you have any questions for me or anything? I don't want to take up all the time.
So
So I'm
interesting.
going to put you back together for a moment.
Yes. Well, I just want to say thank you for the work that you do. I know that it's an interesting path. It's both challenging and amazing and full of opportunities. I can relate to a very baby step of what you're sharing, because I myself have been called into that type of work in my lifetime. When I first met my father-in-law here in Peru, who's a Quero Maestro, and so I travel with him around the world. We bring him to peace conferences and other Quero elders as well. Actually, yesterday I had a surprise visit by the mayor of Queros, which was amazing to connect with him. We were talking about mining and just informing the community to stay safe in protecting the land. And so I know that this type of work calls us to be into our fullest spiritual path, because even if you're here coordinating on the computer, how do you step away and continue to practice that spirituality on a daily practice, waking up and honoring the stars and the moon and the sun, and just staying in that deep connection. And so it was really fabulous, and to hear the story of the grandmothers. I had not known how they got together, and that sounds so amazing and cosmic. And you were just mentioning the gathering that I was feeling called to here. I just received a really strong vision in Sedona first. I had brought my father-in-law to the Sedona Eagle Quetzalcoatl gathering, and we were sitting in council, and I happened upon a circle of grandmothers and women, and I just started crying, profoundly crying, and my heart said, wow, I'm not crazy. And that was the message that I got. I'm not crazy. It's about women. It's all about women. And I had this sudden revelation that I, in assisting my father too, now needed to branch out into this women, to the grandmothers. And there was so much, these other levels of wisdom that were really calling me. And when I came back to Peru, that was in my prayer. I just kept praying. I really feel it's important for the grandmothers to come and to be, wherever that may be, I'd love to be of assistance. And just over the past couple of weeks, something really large just seemed to open up in the Andes. And I just kept getting the message that the Divine Feminine is here, residing in the Andes, but she wants to be rooted. So she feels like she's wobbling and she's not rooted yet, and she wants to be rooted. And she just was really particular that called together a grandmothers and women's gathering here. Mm-hmm. And for it to be both, getting wisdom keepers and grandmothers together so that amongst themselves can discuss further steps, but also bringing that and making it available to women allies and activists, people that are really working on the Indigenous front and the earth front, and what we can do, and that something very amazing is going to be dreamed out of that and seeded out of that. So I really appreciate the conversation that we had this week, as well as the one we're having now, and feeling, supported to follow a crazy whim of a vision, because they're definitely never logical. You never think that the finances will work out or the land or all the details, but then they cosmically do. And it calls us to be further and further in prayer and song, because that's just what moves all of it. And so, yeah, thank you for all that you're sharing here, and all the work that you're doing and keep on doing, and in Phoenix and around the world. And let me see what other things we have here. So I guess in speaking about that, how do you personally integrate the Indigenous earth wisdom in your daily routine and work? So if you're sitting here, organizing and planning all the time, how are you balancing that out on a daily basis? Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel that, I know it's hard to believe that you can be in spirit while you're on the computer.
True.
But I feel that there is, it's not for everybody to do that. But I feel that the people that are called to do that portion, do the organizing on computer work, whatever the networking is that takes place to make that happen. I feel that, it's all part of the spiritual work. That's the way I see it. When I'm on the computer, I'm making this beautiful vision happen. I'm taking care of the people. Like, I'm putting this medicine wheel conference on, right? And everything that I'm doing for it, whether I'm making a flyer, whether I'm emailing the elders or emailing the volunteers or creating it, I feel that I'm taking care of everybody. Everybody feels taken care of. They know that somebody's behind the scenes, and it's a comfort for the elders. I'm sure that you've ended up in traveling with your father to stepfather, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe there's situations where things weren't as organized, or things weren't as taken care of. But that's my job. I feel that Spirit has given me these gifts to be able to do graphic design, to be able to organize. And I feel that when I'm on the computer, I just see it putting a warm blanket over the elders, or putting a warm blanket over the volunteers, like everybody knows and understands, what they're supposed to be doing, how it's going to go, how it flows, like nobody wonders about anything. They're all going to be fed beautiful food. They're going to be in a nice place to sleep. And the people coming as well. I feel that, to make sure that everybody understands what's going on with the gathering, with whatever gathering I'm putting on. It's all this to me is it's the spiritual work too. Computer, it's kind of everybody has a vision computer work and money and different things like that are not spiritual things. But it's all energy. It's all energy. And it's how you see it when you're doing it. It's almost like a meditation sometimes when you're in this groove. It's almost like sometimes I just wake up in the middle of the night and I feel like Spirit's just giving me messages and ideas, and I just I can't wait to get up. Sometimes I'm looking at my watch. God, it's only 2:00. Okay, I'm looking around, But I just sometimes when it's like that, I just I just feel that we are still in spirit, and it's important to create the balance. I don't feel like I'm on the computer all the time. I take my time to go, out to the mountains and hike, to do my blessings, to, do other things that I need to do. Mm-hmm. And Like when I'm helping the grandmothers, boy, that's a big job taking care of those grandmothers sometimes, because there's just a small little handful of us, organizing the gathering. And like this gathering here, this medicine wheel gathering, there's only 2 of us. My friend Victoria Luna that I'm organizing this gathering with has had this vision, same thing. Like she had this vision. This gathering had to happen. This medicine wheel gathering had to be called the medicine wheel. And she didn't know what it was about, but she knew that it had to happen. She's tried to gather people together, and it just never manifested, And so I said, well, I can, help you with that. So it resonates with what I'm feeling, and I like the idea of we're using the picture of the Milky Way as our logo. And so we're saying like that's the original wheel, the original circle. And how around the world, there's circles that point us to the stars, whether it be, or markers, whether it be actual medicine wheels the way they are today in the Native American community, or like Stonehenge, even the pyramids, or all over the world, there's things that point us to the stars. And many cultures around the world, numerous, feel that we came there from the stars. And that's where we're connected. And that's why I feel it's so important that we listen to all these different people from around the world, because it's all part of us. So it's so important to come together and to listen to these elders speak. I know it's changed my life. This work, I'd say this work, listening to the elders and following this path and dedicating my life to it has made me who I am today. Whatever that is, it has made me who I am, and has molded me in my spiritual work in the way it is today. And I have this gift to be able to organize, and I like to work really hard. So I work really hard for these elders, so they don't have to. Mm-hmm. I do this work so that they can be in their space to do what they need to do. And then there's times where I'm in my space where I have to do what I have to do. And I just recently moved here to Sedona, but I felt like it was a calling. It called me here, and so this is where I have my private practice doing the spiritual work, because that's my vision, my dream for my life. We all have a vision and dream for our life, so it's up to us to follow that. When we hear a message or have something that wakes us up, something that says a spirit sends us a message or blows something our way, it's up to us to take that as a real message. We don't discount it and say, oh, it was nothing. You know how it is, the first message is the intuition and the spirit speaking, and the second message is the brain discounting the first message. So sometimes you have to back up and think, what was that first feeling, or what was that first thought? Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to go by, and don't think anything is nothing. And I always feel that whatever we're drawn to, whatever our passion is like a magnet to our path. So it's up to us to be passionate about what we do, and to follow our what we're interested in, because that's that's where we're supposed to go. That's what we're supposed to do. You know, we're spirits here on earth. We're not here for nothing. I always said that, and Grandma Mona always says that too. You know, she always says that. I was like, I always say that too, because we're not here to waste our time.
Right.
We're not here just to, you know, do the mundane things every day. You know, we need to live our life and do what we're supposed to do here, and living our passion is, I think, what we're supposed to do. Because that's who we are. When we shine ourselves, we shine for everyone.
Do you ever find that whenever you taking it do you ever find that on your path of coming so solid in your path and coming so solid in your work and who you are, did you ever find that you were kind of choking with people on the way in order to like stand that ground and be able to do what you really feel is right?
Yeah, I have to say yes. I a lot of times, anybody in any leadership role or role of importance is always going to come up with somebody thinking that they want more power than you do. You know, it's like that's not about power. It's like, let's get this thing done. You know. Yeah. But yeah, I have. You know, many times ran into somebody that wants to stifle me. Like they don't want me to continue. And anytime that's happened, you know, when I'm helping somebody else with their gatherings, a lot of times, you know, they'll support me. Mm-hmm. You know, the person who I'm doing something for supports me. And even like I've, you know, taught classes and stuff like that. You know, I do a lot of workshops and things like that. And I don't know, it's like, it's so interesting stepping into a different role other than just being the person that goes to the events all the time. Mm-hmm. The person that organizes them. I think that we are always going to come up with some controversy from someone. And we just have to stand our ground because we know we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're doing it right. We're doing it fairly and in a good heart. And that's all that matters. Because if you know that you're in alignment, then you never worry about it, you know? Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about it. Now I'm going to plug my computer in and think my little, I might run out of battery here. Okay, I'm okay now.
All right, ciao.
I'm good. But yeah, I have certainly ran into different things, and what I've noticed also coming into the position of you know, like teaching people or mentoring people or different things, it's like people expect you to be different in some ways. I've noticed, like you have to. They expect you to be, you can never like put a guard down, like, you know, like you could with your friends and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of learned that, you know, in the beginning I learned that the hard way, where everybody expects you to be the teacher, where you're like, hey, I'm just showing you what I know. I'm not, you know, being some big teacher on a big pedestal. I'm just sharing what I know. Mm-hmm. Might be something that you don't know, but people sometimes have a hard time with that, so I kind of had to learn that lesson to kind of step into that role. Mm. It's like you have to step into it because it's inevitable. I mean, you have to say, okay, I'm okay with it now, but I was kind of forced into it in the beginning, and so now I'm just like, you know, I'm okay with it. I'm you know. And when people are, you know, offering any controversy to anything I do that, like trying to not like take my authority away or my power away, I just, you know, you have to give it up to spirit and stand your ground. So it's like if you know you're doing okay, you're doing the right thing, you're doing it the right way. You're following spirit, you're following your heart, you're alignment, then don't worry about it, what other people think. You just follow your path, and that's all that we have to think about here.
And sometimes it can be a bit lonely for a little bit, no?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. And just kind of coming into that awareness and understanding that it's okay to, in following your heart and following spirit, everyone's not necessarily getting the same message. So in doing that, maybe you really have to go inward for a while and be alone and walk alone in the mountains and do everything that you need to do. And then I've noticed, though, through that tuning in and through that fine-tuning, that the right relationships do come around. And exactly like you were just sharing, like you kind of get forced into the full leadership role. It's kind of like you had some of the skills and you're like, hey, this is my vision, this is what I'm doing. And then you're like, what do you think? And you're asking other people. And then you're like, all of a sudden you have to take the whole thing by the reins, like you were explaining to me this week. And just not be afraid of that. Being understanding and saying, I am different. I am receiving these messages, and this is the way that I feel called to do it. And I know that I'm doing it with love and with full intention. And so, just taking the full reins and going with it.
Yeah,
it's nice.
So I that's one of the things that I always talk about is that, people coming into their power, that to not doubt yourself. Like I do, other than the massage therapy, I do clearings is my main thing. And almost everybody after a clearing has come back to me, a later date, or they've come, even right after, whatever, and it say that they have come into their power, because that's the thing that we all need to do, and not worry about things so much. Don't get upset about things so much. You just go with the flow more. It kind of like the water, it goes around the rocks. It doesn't stop in front of the rock and argue with it. I need to get by. It flows around the rock.
I've been arguing with the rock.
Yeah. So, we just got to go with the flow, which is what it's saying, but we, and we know that we're doing the right thing, so we just follow our path, So a lot of people have come back to me and said, this business that I'm in is because the clearing that you did for me. I feel like I could do it now. I don't know how many people have told me that. So I think that's, I'm finding out that that's, kind of part of my work. You find out about your work too through other people. I just do the work, but I'm finding, and it is the forefront of anytime I teach a class or talk to people, I always talk about being empowered, and we lift each other up, by lifting another person up, you're lifting yourself up, because we're all connected. And that's the same, like with these workshops, the conferences or different things, helping the grandmothers, all these things that I do is for that one reason, to lift us up. That I post events on my website because I don't want people to feel like they're alone. Like there's other people that they can get together with like-minded people, and I also encourage that. To get together with other like-minded people. And we, when we do get together with other like-minded people, be that person that's open to other people, that's welcoming to the diversity of all of us. Like somebody says something that doesn't quite resonate with you, that's their path. That's okay. Doesn't matter. No need to think anything different. Be the person that raises everybody up, and everybody's on a different path and a different place. But when we get together, like say this Medicine Wheel conference or this the Women's Grandmothers Conference or event that you're having in Peru, any of these gatherings that we come together, or even just a workshop or a evening meditation, sometimes it can change your life. these things. Something happens within us, a shift. And so that's what I encourage, is that these shifts keep happening, because each time that we go do something, we learn something from somebody, we listen to different people talk, something shifts, and we keep, stepping up who we are, learning more, understanding ourselves, the world, the universe, spirit, everything more. And it's I think it's never ending. So I'm going to pass this back to you.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
I love the feather passing back and forth.
As in council.
Yes.
And I love all that you're sharing. I think definitely in any of the passions in our life path, we do learn exactly that, the relationships and our relations, in all of our relations. And so I like what you say about, the water doesn't stop to fight with the stone. So that's really beautiful wisdom that I will definitely keep in mind. I noticed something that really strange happened to me recently. Like, the stronger that I go in my path and my visions, then I start getting frustrated with people around me, because it's like, why we're not on the same page at this point. And just like you're sharing, though, then you come to this space where you say, this is the path that you're choosing, and that's okay. And there's no reason for us to butt or just anything, just flow the way it needs to flow. And so I really enjoy that. And I think that's a really wisdom that's at the heart of most Indigenous nations too, that reciprocity and the respect for other people, and the community that builds through that, and raising people up. And
Yes.
Just like you were sharing too about you come to know your medicine as you go, I've come to find out that singing song, there's an earth song that comes through me for other people. And it's interesting, it actually first, at first I was just for a while just singing to plants, like, what is this? This is kind of weird. I'm speaking another language. But it's just like a vibration. It's just pure vibration with this no constraints of words. And then this last year, I had someone helping me on the computer a whole bunch, and so I decided to take it to the next level and offer it to her. And I thought I was just going to give her a massage, but it turned out that she just needed a whole song for her, and it came out to be a healing for her and a clearing for her. So I agree with what you're saying, that your gifts come as you go, and you actually learn from those gifts, and then through that can even share in other ways. And it's really beautiful to be able to do that. Let me see here. What else do we have? Oh, here's a question. So in the many wisdom sharers and people that you've visited with around the world, and just the messages that you've heard, in your opinion, how do you feel that prophecies are currently playing out these days?
One thing I've noticed is that most people's prophecies are all in alignment with each other. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I've noticed. And it seems like in the different prophecies, we're all at the same stage of that prophecy. Like the Hopis have the fourth worlds and the fifth world, where I think we're like at the end of the fourth world, or some people say we're beginning the fifth. Everybody's different, but everybody, all the what I have noticed is that a lot of people say that we're all at the same place.
A transitional point.
Yes, in the prophecy of their tradition. So I feel like, we're just here doing our, doing what we do. We're who we are. We're here, doing this work here on earth, and we just, stay to our path and do what we're doing and lift everybody up along the way. And, a lot of people are worried about what's going to happen. Is it going to be some catastrophe, whatever? What does it matter? I mean, really, it's just how it is. Whatever happens, happens. All that we have to worry about is doing what we're doing in the best way, and following spirit, following our heart, following our visions, our dreams, you know, following the messages that we're getting. And if it so happens that, you know, something happens to us, then that must be the end of our cycle. Mm-hmm. You know, like when somebody crosses over, I'm actually very happy for them. That cycle for them has they've gone through that cycle. As sad as it is to not have somebody here with us, at the same time, I'm happy for them. Mm-hmm. That's why they call it, you know, the celebration of life. You know, that you celebrate their life, that cycle that they experienced here on earth, and you know, we bless them on their way, because we're spirits. It's not like we're gone.
Of course.
You know, we have a place to go. So even at like a lot of the prophecies, when I was at a talk the other day at a friend's house, and there was a Hopi elder there speaking, and he was speaking something, he was talking a lot about a lot of different things that are out there. And one of the things that he was talking about was you know, where we're at in that prophecy. And the lady my friend that went with me, she was like, you know, like, she was like, wow, that kind of freaks me out. Like, is it going to end, or what's going to happen, you know? And I just said, well, we can't even say. We don't know. We're going to just flow with it. And who knows if anything will happen in our lifetime, or when it does happen, it's supposed to happen. It's the cycle of the earth, mm-hmm. cycle of our lives, part of the universal energies that's going on. Just, you know, we have to flow with whatever happens in our lives, because it's all, you know, how they say, whatever is meant to be. And I've had somebody accuse me of saying that's an excuse, that things are the way they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You know, like I had somebody question me on that. They'd say, oh, that's just an excuse. Like if something goes wrong, you're like, oh, that's supposed to be that way, I guess. But I truly believe it. That, you know, everything is how it's supposed to be. Mm. So I just believe it. I really believe it. So back to you.
Well, I know that as a young person, I know that a question that's been crossing my mind recently a lot is this all bogus? Like, why is there all of a sudden all this talk about this transition in the world and shifts in the world and a new earth and just consciousness and all of these words that became really popular quite recently? And then I was just wondering, like, in the past couple generations, were they talking about the same thing? Is this just newly coming about? And I have no idea. And then I keep coming back to the same conclusion as you, as it doesn't matter. What it does matter is that I feel called to be here in Peru and create an ecological temple to host Indigenous gatherings and to support the Indigenous communities and nature here. And I feel called to live in a community that is worried about food, that is worried about plastic, that is worried about plant medicines, and that those are the things that we're concerning our life with, and the art and the music and enjoying life. And so I just keep coming back to that. I'm like, whether or not, sometimes I get tripped up on the conversations with people, you know, it gets like really ethereal really quickly. And I'm like, okay. But, you know, grounding it down again, just being here in the present and in the vision and in the heart and understanding what it is that I'm really feeling called to do in this moment. And that I actually received this vision in Sedona, where you are now. I was working at the chocolate tree. Hello, Jen. We love you. Yeah. And we love your chocolates, Kelly. And
vegetarian restaurant.
And so chocolatreeeatery.com or org. Do you know?
I don't know, but I'm sure.
Look it on Google. Chocolate Tree Eatery, one of the most amazing vegetarian restaurants in all of North America. Highly recommend it. So I was there, and I entered my first cleanse with them. The whole staff, we were doing a juice cleanse together, And I just went into my room one day, and this is the first vision I've ever had. I was drawing on my walls. I had like papers posted on my wall, and I was just drawing for 3 days. It didn't come out. And I came out talking about indigenous people and temples and teas. And I had this whole game plan. And I showed everyone. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm talking about the plan for the world. And they're like, we don't understand, but I support you and I empower you in doing what you're doing. How can I help? That was the key too. And so, but that's the part about vision. Sometimes you get that vision and you get the key, and then you gotta, do all these tiny. You just keep following your heart and do the tiny extra pieces, and then little by little it comes in. And I've actually noticed recently, once coming to Peru, I'm getting little signs of that original vision now, about how the music and the shows can come in, how the teas can come in. And I've just been focusing on the temple space, And so I think it's really interesting, this time that we're in, whether it's been prophesized, whether it's not been prophesized. But we do seem to be in a time right now where creation and what we can create is really easily at our hands. And just like what you're doing with these gatherings, bringing people together and bringing like-minded people together and hearing those messages seem to be those synapses that fire off. And those ideas, like spirit speaking to spirit and saying, oh, let's do it this way. Oh, let's do it this way, And so hosting those spaces where people can come together. And in the meantime, if we're not on the same frequency or vibration as another person, it's okay. Just letting that be and just staying centered and knowing that we are doing work of spirit and earth, both of them. And I particularly feel really called with that message right now too. Like, we're spiritual beings here in a body. So we're both earth and spirit, both of them. And that's one of the messages that Grandma Margarita sings about all the time in council, about us being both the feminine and the masculine together and supporting both of those. And so, wow, I feel like we've covered an amazing array of subjects and awesomeness today and juiciness. And it was so beautiful to find out the story of the 13 International 13 Grandmothers.
The International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers.
Mm-hmm. And to hear about your amazing life and your journey and all that you've learned along the way, and how it's amazing to witness how solid you are and who you are. And do you do, as your healings that you do them distance healings as well?
Oh yeah,
amazing.
I've done a clearing on Skype in New Zealand before.
I'm in. I'm gonna program one with you this week or whenever you're free, because I know you got the Medicine Wheel conference going on.
I'm still doing the work. I mean, a lot of people come and get clearings, and
amazing.
With the clearings, I feel like the clearings are the same as the conferences. Like, it's not like I'm doing something to you, but I'm creating the venue for you to do your own work. And that's how the clearings work too. So, when people come for a clearing, it's like you're ready for this, whatever is going to happen, you're ready to do the work,
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
So, yeah, and I think if people are called to get off their couch and go somewhere and go to a gathering, they're ready to do that work.
Of course, yeah. That's how I landed into what I'm doing now. I went to a gathering.
Yeah?
Yeah, I started crying. First ceremony ever, I started crying. And I'm like, oh, it's time to re-inherit the earth.
Yes.
That's the message that I got.
Yes, that's wonderful.
So for everyone who's joined us in virtual council today, to all the spirit beings, to Pachamama, to the Apus, the mountain spirits, to all the stars, to the two suns, to the moon, to the wind, to the flowers, to Kokomama, who's been here with us, to you, Linda, to all of your family, to all of your ancestors, all of your guides, and everyone who's gotten you here to this moment today, and for all of my guides and lineage as well. Thank you for this moment of clear communication on Skype from Sedona to Peru. And thank you, Linda, for your time. And for everyone, please feel free to check out more about what Linda's doing. Be sure to, if you can, go to the conference on October 9th through 11th. It's a Medicine Wheel conference. You can find out more information on medicinewheel.org. And you can also keep in
No,
touch.
medicineconference.org.
MedicineWheelConference.org. Perfect. And then you can also keep in touch with Linda and her personal clearing work that empowers you to do the work that you're doing. And you can check that out at meaningfulthings.net. And definitely don't forget to join us at Reviveolution.net if you want to check out more about what we're doing. And so, gracias, Linda. Hayaya, muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a beautiful day. Till
You
next
too.
time. Hi.
And everybody.